On February 28, 1922, Britain formally recognized Egypt's independence, though it retained control over key areas like the Suez Canal. February 28, in 1986, Swedish Prime Minister Olof Palme was assassinated, shocking the nation and the world. On February 28, 1947, an anti-government uprising began in Taiwan, which was then under the control of the Republic of China, ROC, government led by the Kuomintang, KMT. On February 28, 1986, Rudi Dutschke, a prominent student activist and leader of the 1968 protest movement in West Germany, died after years of health complications stemming from an assassination attempt in 1968. On February 28, 1844, a gunpowder explosion aboard the USS Princeton killed several high-ranking U.S. officials, marking one of the deadliest peacetime naval disasters. On February 28, 2007, tensions began to rise between the Pakistani government and the clerics of the Lal Masjid, Red Mosque, in Islamabad. On February 28, 2002, Germany made headlines for its commitment to environmental sustainability. On February 28, in 1986, Swedish Prime Minister Olof Palme was assassinated in Stockholm, an event that shocked the UK and the world. On February 28, 1989, Fernando Collor de Mello became Brazil's first democratically elected president after years of military rule. On February 28, 1997, the Turkish military issued a memorandum pressuring the government to resign, marking the postmodern coup. February 28, 1997, the Truth and Reconciliation Commission, TRC, held hearings across South Africa to address human rights violations committed during the apartheid era. On February 28, 1929, Frank Gehry, a world-renowned architect, born in Toronto, Canada. On the 28th of February 2008, President Kibaki and Prime Minister Odinga signed a coalition government agreement. February 28 is celebrated as National Science Day in India to commemorate the discovery of the Raman effect by Sir C.V. Raman in 1928. February 28, 1975, the Moorgate tube crash in London, a tragic accident on the London Underground. On February 28, 1909, Canada played its first international hockey game against the United States. On February 28, 2011, President Jacob Zuma faced mounting criticism over corruption allegations and governance challenges. February 28 incident, Taiwan, 1947. This was an anti-government uprising in Taiwan against the Kuomintang-led government. On February 28, 1971, the Malaysian government continued its efforts to implement the new economic policy, NEP, which had been introduced in 1970. On February 28, 1953, Soviet leader Joseph Stalin met with Zhou Enlai, the premier of the People's Republic of China, PRC, during a visit to Moscow. February 28, in 1958, Floyd County, Kentucky school bus accident. 26 children died in worst school bus accidents in U.S. history. On February 28, 1985, Pakistan held its first general election since the military coup led by General Zia-ul-Haq in 1977. On February 28, 1975, the Canadian government created Petro-Canada, a crown corporation, in response to the global oil crisis of the early 1970s.